Nobody warned them about the snoring. They'd read every breed guide, talked to every owner. They knew a Bullmastiff would be big. What they didn't know was that a puppy named Biscuit would arrive small enough to hold in 2 hands and spend the next 3 years refusing to believe he ever got any bigger. They had done their research. They had read the breed guides, watched the videos, spoken to owners at the park who smiled knowingly and said, "Oh, you'll love him." They knew Bullmastiffs were large, they knew they were loyal, they knew they were, as the books put it, calm and confident. What the books did not mention was that an 8-week-old Bullmastiff puppy named Biscuit would arrive in a cardboard-lined crate, fit snugly in 2 cupped hands, and immediately fall asleep on the ride home, snoring so loudly the driver turned down the radio. That was the beginning. Biscuit came into the family on a gray Tuesday morning, fawn-colored and wrinkled, with a black velvet mask across his face that made him look perpetually unimpressed with the world. He was small enough then that the family cat investigated him without alarm. He wobbled when he walked, he tripped over his own ears. Nobody could have predicted what he would become. The other dogs in the house had their own personalities, their own routines, their own rules about the sofa. Biscuit observed all of this with the quiet intensity of a creature taking detailed notes. Within 2 weeks, he had memorized every creak in the floorboards, every shortcut through the garden, every moment in the daily schedule when a biscuit, the food kind, his namesake, might reasonably appear. He was methodical from the start, deliberate. There was something almost ancient about the way he moved through a room, as though he had done this before, in another house, in another lifetime, and was simply settling back in. The family noticed early on that Biscuit had a particular relationship with size, specifically with his own. As the weeks passed and he grew, doubling, then tripling, then surpassing every other animal in the household, his behavior did not update accordingly. He still approached laps as though they were his birthright. He still squeezed behind the sofa cushions during thunderstorms. He still presented his belly for scratching with the demanding confidence of a creature who weighed 12 pounds, not the 130 he eventually became. The vet called it a Bullmastiff thing. The family called it Biscuit. I see you still haven't subscribed. Honestly, that breaks my heart a little. Hit that subscribe button, you won't regret it. There is a particular moment each morning, somewhere between 6 and 7, when Biscuit makes his rounds. It is not dramatic, there is no barking, no urgency. He simply moves from room to room, pausing at each doorway, checking. A heavy head pushed gently through a gap, a slow exhale, then on to the next room. The family didn't notice it at first, not consciously. It was only after several months that someone remarked on it, and then everyone realized they had all been aware of it all along. Every morning, every room, every person accounted for. Stories like this are exactly why some bonds deserve to be witnessed. He is not a guard dog in the traditional sense. He is never needed to be. There is something about his presence, the sheer, quiet gravity of 130 pounds of utterly calm animal that communicates everything that needs to be communicated without a single sound. Visitors who arrive nervous leave confused by their own ease. Children who have never met a dog this size reach for him instinctively, as though their hands already know something their brains haven't caught up with yet. The other dogs learned from him, not tricks, not commands, something less teachable than that. They learned the particular stillness he carried, the patience, the way he would wait at the back door in the rain without complaint, not because he lacked options, but because he had decided the wait was worth it. They would watch him, and gradually, without anyone planning it, they began to mirror him. A household that had once been loud became, over time, a quieter place. There was one afternoon, about 18 months in, when Biscuit disappeared. Not truly disappeared. The garden gate had blown open in a wind, and he had wandered no further than the end of the street, sitting very calmly on the pavement outside a neighbor's house, as though he had simply decided to expand his territory by 20 meters. But the 15 minutes between noticing the open gate and finding him were, by unanimous family agreement, among the worst 15 minutes in recent memory. He was found. He was fine. He wagged his tail with the slow, sweeping confidence of someone who had never doubted the outcome. Some dogs make you realize how much space they occupy, not just in your home, but somewhere quieter than that. What struck the family most afterwards was not the relief. It was the realization of how completely and invisibly he had rearranged the architecture of daily life, the routines built around him, the chair that was now permanently his, the way everyone, without discussing it, checked his breathing before turning out the lights. He is still growing into himself in the ways that matter, still learning, still watching, still showing up at doorways in the early morning to count everyone present. The wrinkles have deepened, the snoring has, if anything, gotten worse. He no longer fits in two cupped hands. He fits, instead, in the particular way that certain things do, not because there was space for them, but because space was made. Because that is what Bullmastiffs do when you let them. They don't guard with noise or aggression, they guard with presence, with consistency, with the quiet daily accumulation of showing up morning after morning, room after room, year after year. If you've ever thought about bringing a dog like Biscuit into your life, do your research, find a responsible breeder or rescue, and be ready. Be ready to give them your time, your patience, your softest blanket, and at least one full sofa cushion. They will give you everything else. Is Biscuit a guard dog, or is he something rarer than that? A dog who simply decided his family was worth protecting? What do you think? Tell me in the comments.